Welcome. My name is Laurie Groh. I'm the owner of Shoreside Therapies. Today we have Julia Frank with us, and she's going to go through visualization, self-care mini-series. We're on week 1, music-based visualization. So thank you so much, Julia. I'm looking forward to this today.
I'm excited to get started. It'll go. Okay, just to introduce myself, my name is Julia Frank. I'm a master's student and I'm a counseling intern at Shoreside Therapies. And I'm currently in the final semester of my master's in clinical mental health counseling at Marquette. And I'm on the child and adolescent track of that program. I really love using visualization as a mindfulness technique with my clients to help them manage their anxiety symptoms and build self-confidence. So just a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We'll do a brief introduction about like what visualization is. We'll talk about the different types of visualization, and then we'll get specifically into music-based visualization, which is what we'll be talking about today. We'll talk about some research about it and the benefits. We'll talk about tips to get the most out of your experience, and then we're going to practice it. We'll do 2 different little activities, debrief the experience, and then there's a little journal activity at the end. And then finally, we'll wrap up with any like final reflections and questions that you guys might have. So just to get started, I would love to know where everyone kind of stands on like visualization as a whole. So if you want to put it in the chat, somewhere on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like you don't know anything about it or you don't like it, and 10 being that you like love it and use it all the time. I'd love to see kind of where everyone stands before we jump into it. Lori said 7. She wishes she used it more. I know, I feel like sometimes it's not always top of mind for me, but when I do use it, it's very helpful. So just a brief overview of what visualization even is. It's a meditation mindfulness technique that requires you to use your mind to imagine scenarios. Oftentimes they're calming or consist of you accomplishing a goal or making it through a challenging time. And through the practice of visualization, the imagery becomes that full sensory experience, transports you to the situation in which you were envisioning for the duration of that meditation. So there's 4 main types of visualization, and each week in this mini series, we'll kind of touch on a different one so that by the end, you will have had the opportunity to try out a bunch of different kinds, and hopefully we'll have found one that you feel like works best for you. These 4 types are music, vision boarding, guided imagery, and mental rehearsal. Music, typically you want something that's either like calming, inspirational, like confidence building, and it's really meant to help you focus on the visualization and not to occupy your attention. You're focused more on like your feelings and how the different parts of the song or maybe the story that the song is telling is making you feel, and how your emotions shift throughout that practice. And then vision boards, I feel like these are really popular typically around like New Year. People will put visual representations of their goals or their desires in life. A lot of times it's around relationships, career, family goals, self-care, new hobbies or habits that you want to start, all of that kind of stuff. And then guided imagery, which requires you to use your senses to immerse yourself in typically like a positive or peaceful environment or one where you're overcoming a challenge. And then lastly, there's mental rehearsal. And this is using your imagination to visualize yourself succeeding in a specific context. So if you're an athlete, it might be you're succeeding in a game that you're playing. If you're a performer, maybe you're a singer, a dancer, a musician, you're visualizing yourself in that performance, what that might look like. But then it can also be used on like a daily basis. So maybe you're mentally rehearsing a conversation you might have that could be difficult, or a presentation you have to give, or a test you have to take. Any of those specific situations that are anxiety inducing, mental rehearsal can be a really helpful tool in combating those feelings. So some specific benefits of music-based visualization. I find that this is a really unique form because music adds a lot of emotional depth to the visualization. And in turn, visualization helps to give the music deeper meaning and purpose. The multisensory nature of music increases regulation of both the mind and body. The combination of both that calm imagery and the calm auditory input is stronger than each of them by themselves. So really having that combined approach really deepens the benefits of the music-based visualization. Your body will match the calming or confidence boosting input that it receives. Your breathing will slow, your muscles will relax, tension fades, and the stress hormones that your body is producing will also decrease. Visualization as a whole strengthens neuroplasticity and improves your adaptability to stress. And engaging in music based visualization for even a few minutes can have calming impacts that last hours after. So, this doesn't have to be something you do for like hours at a time. Even like a short 3 to 5 minute practice can have those benefits that last throughout the rest of your day. And then some empirical support for the specific technique. Overall, there's pretty limited research on specific music based visualization techniques, but this 2023 study examined the effects of music on mental imagery. And the researchers found that the presence of music led to more detailed mental imagery and more significant improvements in mood. They also detailed how the visualization interventions that also utilize music can be a really influential tool in stress reduction, relaxation, and regulation of your nervous system and your emotions. So, some specific times or circumstances that you can use music based visualization for. First one, to do like a morning reset, set your intentions for the day. This could be like right as you wake up, even before you get out of bed, or if you want to play music while you're kind of going about those first few tasks that you do. This can really help you kind of set your intentions for the day and start the day off on the right foot. In a more calm or more positive mood. Music based visualization is a really quick stress relief and grounding tool that you can use. I feel like most of us have headphones on us most of the time now. So, super quick and easy to just pull up a song that you know is going to ground you, is going to boost your confidence, or kind of elicit whatever emotion you're looking to have more present in your life. And then you can also use it kind of opposite of that morning reset for calming and unwinding before bed to just kind of get yourself into that more relaxed state. It can also be helpful for creative inspiration for projects or goals that you might have. Any sort of like um, songs that are focused on like accomplishing something can be really helpful in like trying to narrow down a goal that you might have for the day or for your career or something else. And so it can serve as that inspiration for some future projects or goals that you might have. And then lastly, we kind of touched on this music based visualization can be really helpful for that confidence boost and increasing your motivation. So maybe you have a really hard task coming up or something that you've kind of been dreading. I find a lot of times if you put on some like confidence boosting music, that can really do the trick to get that motivation going. So before we get into our actual practice of it, let's go over some specific tips for using this technique to make sure that you get the most out of it. The first one is you want to choose your music intentionally. So, whatever the song is, you want it to be aligned with the feelings that you want to evoke. So, if you're trying to relax, be calm, maybe you don't want to put the most high energy song on, and vice versa. If you want to be energized, you want that confidence boost, a higher beat or higher energy song is probably better fitting for that. Secondly, you want to let the music guide the visualization. So, this is kind of different than some of the other techniques we'll be using later on in our mini series. But for this specifically, you don't want to try and focus too hard on imagining something specific. You can either focus on the lyrics of the song and kind of the story that they're telling, or you can focus on the music itself, the instruments, and how that is making you feel. And I feel like that is already a lot to focus on. And so trying to focus too hard on imagining something in addition to that can feel really overwhelming. Third, you want to engage your senses. So vividly focus on what you see, hear, smell, taste, and feel while you're going through this music based visualization. And this can help it to feel more real and concrete and less imaginative. Next, you want to let your body respond to the music. So notice any like shifts in breathing, swaying. Those are natural responses to the music, but they can be helpful to kind of take note of these and see how the visualization is impacting your mood and your body's response. Um, so obviously, like take note of these and continue on with the visualization. Don't be too focused on them. They're pretty natural. But it can kind of clue you into how your body is responding. And then our last tip is to end with awareness. So once the song ends, take a few more deep breaths, really soak in the emotions that you're feeling. Notice any changes from the beginning of the practice to the end, how your mood has changed, maybe how your body has relaxed, um, maybe how your mindset has changed. Any of that can be really helpful in noticing kind of how the practice impacted you and in the future, how it might impact you. Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes to practice. We're going to do it two different times. So I will play a song and then we'll kind of take a break. Everyone will reset. And then I will give you all the option to pick a song on your own and listen to it. We'll take about 5 minutes at that point. So everyone has time to listen to whatever song it is they choose. And then we'll do a little bit of a reflection. So go ahead and find a comfortable position, take a few deep breaths, clear your mind. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and shift your focus to finding a song that evokes whatever emotion that you want to evoke in this moment. So maybe you want a more calming song, maybe you want to stick with that like confidence building one, or there's a song that you've really enjoyed recently and that's one that you want to use. So go ahead and find whatever it is. And we'll take like 5 minutes. Everyone has time to listen to their song. And then we'll come back around 12:23. All right, take the next few seconds to take some deep breaths and return your focus to the rest of us after your song's ended. Just do a quick debrief how that experience was for you. What did you feel? What did you think? And do you feel like you might use this technique in the future? If you'd like to share, go ahead and put any reflections that you have in the chat. She said it felt great. She didn't realize you could use music for this. I know, I feel like this is a fairly new thing. I hadn't heard of it until recently. But I feel like it's really helpful. And a lot of times we end up kind of doing it without even maybe being fully aware. And so having that mindfulness to like really sit and focus on the song that you're listening to and what emotions it's evoking can be really helpful and really um, help create that insight into your own like emotional experience. Because we listen to music all the time, but we very rarely like take that moment to really stop and think about how it's impacting us. Let's go ahead and move on. So, lastly, I thought we could take the next couple minutes to just do a little bit of journaling. If you have a sheet of paper in front of you and you want to write down, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can jot it down on your phone, your laptop, tablet, whatever it is you might be using. But just some guiding questions. What did you notice in your mind and body during the visualization? How did your experiences in the first and second visualizations differ? How did engaging in music based visualization shift your mood? And how might you use this technique in the future? Feel free to keep this to yourself, or if you'd like to share, you can type it in the chat. But just a little bit of reflection on how that experience was. Laurie said she would use it again. It was helpful to pay true attention to the sound and how it makes you feel. Yeah, definitely. I agree. She said she noticed feeling really calm and peaceful. Her head felt more clear. Lori said the first one was better because she didn't know what song she was gonna hear, and so it's easier to focus on it. Yeah. I tried to create that mix of, like, I'll choose one that will hopefully guide you a little bit to that, like, confidence building or, like, resiliency, and then, obviously, everyone has their own needs in the moment. So if someone really needed that, like, grounding or wanted to
Mhm.
feel calm, give them that option to do that as well. Lori, what song did you pick for your second one?
Pearl Jam Indifference.
Nice.
It's one of my favorites, and it's about strength
Yeah.
and perseverance. And um, it's one of my favorite ones if I'm not feeling so great.
Yeah.
But I know every single word. And so that's also
Yeah.
was an interesting thing to experience it where I've heard the song that you had played, but
Mhm.
to actually listen to the words and
Yeah.
allow myself to kind of move internally
Mhm.
with the words was really cool to do.
Yeah, I feel like we all have those songs that we, like, come back to when we, like, need that confidence
Mhm.
boost, and need that inspiration, and so it's nice to have that mix of, like, "Oh, this is, like, comforting to me, and I know it," because that's kind of how I feel for, like, the song that I chose. Because obviously, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like, I have that emotional connection to it, but it's nice to also, like, challenge yourself to listen to maybe other ones you hadn't heard before that share that similar message.
I could see definitely using it in session.
Yeah.
Um, Using it in session with somebody of having them bring their own.
Mhm. Yeah, I found that it's really helpful, and I feel like I have a lot of clients who really love music and are, like, really connected to it, and that's been, like, a really cool thing to share with them and have them kind of explain their emotional connection to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alright, and then finally, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat.
All right. So no questions,
Cool.
but you can always reach out to us afterwards.
Yeah.
Julia's information and my information are on our site at shoresidetherapies.com. This was being recorded, so you will have access to it again. And hoping that you come to the next one. It isn't an experience where you have to build on each one. So you can come to one, you can come to all. We prefer you to come to all, though, of course.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Julia. This is really
Yeah,
awesome.
so much.